He was at a gathering with many doctors, and they had a big question on the board: what is the most dangerous illness around? What is the most deadly illness, or what's the most deadly illness that we have around that causes the most thing? They're all discussing it, and he raised his hand and he said, I think he was a doctor, I don't know exactly what he was doing there, but he picked up and he said, I think the most dangerous thing that we have is life. Life. Nobody seems to make it. Nobody ever seems to make it. Everybody who lives eventually dies. Everyone who lives eventually dies. It seems to be a very dangerous thing. That can't be. Because if you think about it, life in itself is a walking time clock. It's kilo, it's a time clock. There's only a time bomb with time. Everything is going to eventually go, and it doesn't end up lasting. It all depends on how you look at it. If you look at it as death and that's it, so you're sitting, as we say, skid row. You know what that expression is? You're sitting on skid row. You know the expression in England, right? Right, you're mamish on a death sentence, and that's all there is. I remember I have a relative through my wife who, unfortunately, lo aleinu, he had a sickness. We were walking on Shabbat one time. He had a leukemia, but a very serious leukemia. He's not around anymore. He passed away already. And as we were walking, he said to me, I feel like a walking time bomb. That's what he said to me. He said to me, I feel like a walking time bomb. Because he said, I only have a certain amount of time to live. And that's why 50%. But I don't know if this helped, but I tried to say, we really all are walking time bombs. Just we're all walking time bombs in a different way. Everyone's eventually going to the same place. And we all have this thing. I understand. It's not... I think he was okay with it. I don't know 100%, but yeah, it was a little bit of a sad story. But anyways, Al Kopanim, I'm just trying to say that everybody has their eventual thing. If you look at it in that way, it's a little bit gory and more morbid and depressing. But when you realize that everything we're discussing and all the things we're going to discuss is vehicles to understanding where we're going and how we're going there and the importance of what to do while you're here, so then we know, as the Mishnah says, Yafeh sha'ah achad be'olam hazeh, it's good to have 1 hour in this world, mikol chayei olam haba. From Al Olam Haba, it's better to have 1 hour here, because in this 1 hour, there's so much you can do, there's so much you're able to do, instead of just being this particle in the wind, a piece of dust in the wind or something like that. Okay, that's what it is. I have to read to you, before we start in detail what happens, a piece from Rav Lopian, Rav Eli Lopian. Beautiful piece. It's coming in 3 weeks. It's actually coming in 3 weeks. In Parsha Toldot. I'm not going to read you the whole piece. I'm going to just summarize in 2 or 3 minutes. But I have to show you, Mamish. It's an idea that always sat with me until I saw it. Basically, as we all know, Esav sold the Bechorah. And why did he sell? V'yomer Esav, Hinei anochi olech lamut, v'lama li ze Bechorah. Why do I have to have the firstborn rights? That's not worth it. I'm going to die. It's not worth it. I'm going to die. I'm on my way out anyways. It's not worth it. So over here, he brings a Chazal, it's a Gemara in Brachot, that says a person should always put his Yetzer Tov on his Yetzer Hara, to conquer his Yetzer Hara, and it brings 4 steps. First it says, put it Rigzu al Tichto. You should always try to get your Yetzer Tov. If it doesn't work, then be Oisek and Torah. If it doesn't work, do Kriyat Shema. And if that doesn't work, then you should remember the day of death. You should remember the day of death. That's a Chazal. Now the first couple pages, he goes through the first 3 steps. Osek b'Torah, Kriyat Shema, doing the Yetzer Tov, etc., etc. Of course, I just want the last part, where he says, Yizkor lo Yom HaMitah. He says, what does it mean, Yizkor lo Yom HaMitah? Because when a person remembers the day of death, then he realizes we're here on a temporary basis. We know we're going home, we're going to the depths, and it's all over. And he says, this is, as we say, a final flag. You're raising this final flag. You tried Torah, you tried this, but no, I'm just so enveloped with my Yetzer Hara. I can't prevent myself. I can't stop. I know there's a Shem, I have a Muna and this, but I can't control myself. I'm just out of control. So nothing's working. A person realizes he's in bad shape. He's in a dangerous situation. So his last step is to remember Mitah, the day of death. I think of V'dom Usela, that V'dom is something not animate. You're finished. You're all finished. And if you do that, that is the only way that you can put a final stop to it. Because you remember, look, I'm just going to be a dead guy. What is it? What are all these tavot? What are all these things chasing me? You're going to help me, right? When you remember, so it's going to stop me from hopefully doing something wrong, because I realize, what am I doing? And besides olam haba, but I'm going down to the kever, to the grave. So what is this craziness that I'm running after? It's so stupid. That's what he says. Okay, similar to what we've been speaking about. But he asks the question. A great question. He says, we find an opposite of the same idea. Because over here by Esav says, why did he sell the Bechorah? Why did he give up his spiritual dominance? Why did he give it up? Because, Lama li zamut. Why should I die? And Chazal say he was thinking about day of death, about death. I'm going to end up dying. Life is short. And that's what it is. So he said, just take it. Nezida Nashim. He was willing to give it for a bunch of lentils. He was willing to sell himself short for the thing because because it's day of death.
But if you have the same you drink and marry tomorrow, you would die. So it's the idea. They're thinking of it.
100%. Very good. That's right. So that's what he, So he says he sold his Bechorah for just that, and he was willing to give it up for that. That's first of all. Then he brings a pasuk in Yeshaya, which is the same pasuk you're basically quoting, just a little bit easier. It says, "V'inei sasan v'simcha hereg bakar v'shachar." We should have enjoyment. We should kill and slaughter animals and eat meat, drink wine, enjoy ourselves now. There's a pasuk, by the way, not just eat. It's a pasuk, not just carpe diem. I know, carpe diem, right? Not achol v'shato ki machar namut. Eat and drink, because tomorrow we're in the grave. We're going to die. And he says, we see in front of us a pasuk mefurash that they say, ki machar namut. Tomorrow we're going to die, so take advantage of the situation. Eat, drink, and be merry. Take advantage of every lust and taiva you could take advantage of. That's what they seem to say in order to do that. So he asks a very simple contradiction. He goes, I don't understand. We just got finished telling you. The Gemara says, if you think about death, it's supposed to encourage you, get you a little bit chozer b'tshuva, to do something. My time is limited. I got to do something with my life. What's with me? That's the best way to stop the Yetzer Hara. The number one way to stop the Yetzer Hara in an SOS situation is by thinking about the day of death. And then he brings Esav, and he brings this pasuk, which says the opposite. I start thinking about the day of death, and I say, let's go for it, man. Go for all the Yetzer Haras I can get my hand on. I'll try to get every single taiva I can get my hold on. But what's the answer? I'm sure you guys already hear the kivun, but by me it's a living idea. But he basically says it obviously depends on the person. For a person who realizes what's important in life and what I'm here for, and realizes that there's something after, and there's something that's more important, and I'm here as a bridge, like I spoke to you before, I'm here as a means to an end, to get to something else. So he says, my time is up. The doctor says you have a couple months left. A person has a couple months left. He says, if a person knows that such information, he's going to take advantage of it as soon as possible. He's going to try to do as much as he can. There's Rabbi Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld. Rabbi Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld was told by the doctor he only had two months to live. He told me he was told he was about two months to live, and he said, what? He said he sat 24/7. 24/7 he was learning to be able to chazer shas, to be able to chazer everything. During those 2 months he was trying to review everything. Kima didn't speak to anyone, just trying to review all his Torah that he was able to do before that. That's a person who realizes that's what you're supposed to hear for. The other guy, we all know what he's going to do, right? The other guy off the street, he's going to do the opposite. But it's all a matter of where you come from. He just says, Adam should call a person who all is bishalot, everything he wants is oilam hazeh. So he realizes he's midbonen, the time is short. Od me'at kat, only a little bit of time, and I'm going to have to leave this world. So he's going to jump up and try to take care of all the hevel of olim, all the shtiyot that he can get his hand on, because v'dom musela, he knows that in the end of the day he's going to be dormant, he's going to be finished up. As opposed to a person who's osek b'Torah, he's going to try to realize, as the Gemara says, chatof echol chatoch barich, quick, get something, get a bracha, try to get as many mitzvot as he can. He's going to try his best to be able to do it, and that's what he says. That's why Esav said, Hinei olech lamut, I'm going to die. Lama li b'chor, why should I waste my time with this b'chor stuff? I got to do some important stuff. I got to go kill some people. I got to do whatever I can do. Go chase all my taivot. I got to be able to do whatever I can do. And he brings down Yaakov Avinu, the son of Esav, the son of Yitzchak, the grandson of Avram Avinu, for a little bit of ta'avot, a little bit of nazida nashim, he could sell himself short to the devil. Just because he wanted to get some lentils, but just because he had a little bit of ta'avot, he's willing to give in. That's where the amount of taiva can come. A person can give in about what it is. But I'm just bringing out this idea that we spoke out, the idea of thinking about death. It's unbelievable because he's going to take himself in two places. I think about it because I have a certain relative, which he is a person who has traveled the 7 seas and seen every single piece on this planet you can do. I remember having a conversation with him. I always want to revamp that conversation a little bit. I remember speaking to him about this, and after death and what happens, and so on. We're on the same page. Me and him are on the same page. He says I could walk out this door and the car will hit me and I'm going to die tomorrow. I'll die in a second. Life is so short. It's so this and that. Everything we were saying was so similar. It was driving me bananas, right? It wasn't driving me bananas. But it's just so funny how we took it to such different lengths between the two. That's really what made me, what pushed me, mamish, to become, to accept, to push in terms of learning and whatever, and preserving tshuva to a certain extent, is the idea of death and how short, and something always on my mind from when I'm young, something I always think about. It's always on my mind, this idea of how life's so short, and even when I was sitting in, I don't know, wherever you are, I was thinking, wow, when I'm dead, this is all going to continue, and I'm not going to be here, right? And no one's going to miss me either, right? You'll be 6 feet under, and everyone's going to continue with their movies and their thorns and their whatever they're doing, and you'll be okay. They'll give you your 7 days, and then goodbye, So why are you chasing after it? It was all such a thing. And this guy is the total opposite. He takes anything. I'm going to die tomorrow. He travels everywhere, does everything he could do. Every jumps out of planes, whatever you can chaperine on, as they say, to take advantage of, to try to stunt yourself as much as you can enjoy yourself. Everyone takes it according to the place you can do. So of course, if we already have a good beginning, so we can learn the things that we're going to learn these coming weeks in order to understand the points I was trying to point out to you last week. Okay, that's the idea of this idea. Seder? Okay, after that Hagdama, that introduction to understanding the importance of learning the subject and what it should do for us, we will now give a summary of the steps of what happens after a person dies. Okay? Basically, there's 7 decent steps. We're going to have 7 and 7. 7 types of mishpat, 7 types of dinim, mishpat, judgments that go upon a person. And we'll have 7 things that happen to a person after he dies. Okay? That's a good question. We're going to get to that. Yeah, whether it'll be on the camera or off the camera, we'll see. But it will be discussed. B'ezrat Hashem. Okay. And I'm giving you an overview of a number of the things, and Bli Neder will speak about details of things like that. Okay. Okay. So basically, like this. Number 1. This is what we'll discuss today. Is the first number 1 is we're going to discuss today is 30 days before a person dies. There's a certain feeling, or the neshama is told to a certain extent that he's on his way out. Interesting, that's a Arizal. The Arizal holds that 30 days already before a person is already on his way out, according to the Ari, there's a certain, the neshama ki'ilu already starts separating, a certain separation from the goof in a slow manifestation, one aver, each limb by limb, until it's able to do that. Now this is a disagreement with the Zohar, apparently, because the Zohar seems to say that it happens right by the time of mitah, during the same day or hour before, whatever, during that same time period. The Rizal holds that a 30-day period before, and it already is informed that you're in big trouble, buddy, okay, that you're on your way out. That, Bli Neder, this Nakuda is what we're going to speak about today, okay? The Kedich Yitzchak says it's not a, he says it's not a stira. He's a person who speaks about these ideas sometimes. He says it starts a little bit 30 days, and obviously the day of death is much more serious. That's the first step. But again, this Nakuda I'm going to speak about right now. Number 2 is a few minutes before a person is niftar, before a person passes away, he sees the Malach HaMavet coming. He's able to say, people who know many stories, or people who have been talking right before they see something, and a lot of times they get scared or they're petrified. The Gemara itself writes that if a person's shaking when he's doing it in a certain way, now again, you have to be careful when you say this because you see someone shaking, but they say that means that the Malach HaMavet is coming and he sees him or something like that. Again, the Gemara, it's mashma that if he has a proper interpretation, then it's a lower level. It shows that he's on a lower level because he's in big trouble, Kebiyachal. But again, I don't want to play judgment roles on anybody, Chas V'Shalom, that has to do this. But Al Kapanim, that's what comes out from the Gemara. So the second step is that he sees the Malach HaMavet coming. During the actual, that'll be the second step we'll speak about, B'ezrat Hashem, I think, next week. During the Ptira itself, during the actual death part itself, the Shechina is mitgaleh to the Neshama. So here we have the opposite. First we had the Malach HaMavet. If you don't know Hebrew expression, by the way, just ask me, okay. The Malach HaMavet comes, the angel of death, and then of course we have the Shechina, which comes and appears and is seen Kebiyachal to the things. When we speak about the near-death experiences, we'll speak about in the future. Nekuda, millions of cases. I'm not talking about tens, I'm not talking about thousands, not tens of thousands. Millions of cases. They have over 1 million cases. Almost 99.9% of them all saw a very strong light, a blinding light, but a light that was very pulley, very moshech, very enticing. Very enticing light that made them want to go closer to it. It was a very bright light, but it didn't hurt their eyes. They were still able to see and be able to move closer, which is obviously the similar idea of seeing the Shekhinah. Now, the Shekhinah is not a light is a creation, and obviously we speak of the Shekhinah, but it's a type of way, when we speak about Sfirat L'Mashal, in the Sfarim, when we speak about the way Hashem creates, we always refer to Or. Or is always considered the metaphysical idea, because the speed of light, as Einstein already told us, is something we can never reach. It's something above our thing, and it's something beyond us. Okay? Light in general is something metaphysical. It's something that's hard for us to understand. We can't reach that speed, and when you reach that speed, you change time. You go beyond time. Time already starts going back in time if you're able to go to the speed of light. So obviously, something that anything has to do with light per se is something in the Ruchani world. It's already in the more spiritual world. And that's why always in the Kabbali Sfarim, they always refer to Orot. Everything is all spoken as Orot. So the similar idea, I'm just connecting it with the near-death experiences, that people see a light. They all see a light. It's the same idea, but they say it's not like a normal light like you see. It's something else. It's something else. Can't explain it. Everyone says the same words. I just can't explain it. It's something, it's just a type of light that I can't explain. But that's what it is. It's the idea that the Chazal tell it. Most of what I'm saying here is based on Zohars in different places. I'll quote them here and there if you want. Not that I'm a Baki in Zohar. I should have no Geneva Dat here. I don't think that I'm a Baki in Zohar, but everything's quoted in different places in this, and you see how it comes out.
The Rabbi said one day, I noticed with my mother, she's calling out all the names, and suddenly she says, "Get away, go away."
Right before she was nifter?
Muhammad was there. She's telling to go, we're pushing them away.
Who is she pushing away to?
Malaka Muhammad, because she was calling it on them.
Wow.
And then she says, get away, go.
How much was that before she was nifter?
It was
she passed
maybe
away?
a month or before.
A month?
Yeah.
Interesting. See, a month. Worked
She
out well.
must have seen
30
it.
days.
She must have seen it, because it's amazing, really.
There is such an idea.
Amazing.
Arizal says from 30 days you already start having sense.
Why would she call out our names and then say, go away?
Very nice. And she was a very nice lady, just so you know. She was a very nice lady. I don't think she stops at go away.
And when she passed away, she just closed her eyes and she was gone.
Oh.
She
pushed away the Malach Mother. But that's good. If she didn't shake and everything, it's a big thing.
She closed her eyes, that was it.
Unbelievable. See, that shows she was on a high level. Yeah, very nice. Anyways, so that's number 3 on the list. That during the time of thing, the person sees the Shechina. Now, what happens is when you see the Shechina, you get so pulled by it and attracted to it that the person himself, Kilu, wants to die. Not that you want to die, but the person wants to get close to it. Want to go close to the Shechina. Wow, bye bye, and you separate the neshama and the goof separate. The neshama, the spirit, and the body end up separating because he's so attracted to it. And he leaves his body behind and he goes and has a good time. You understand? Everybody else is crying back here and he's enjoying himself. You understand?
Being attached to the body or something?
What?
Some kind of cord
Okay, that we'll speak about it somewhat. Yeah, it's you'll see. There's a difference between tzaddikim and rashayim, but Bezrat Hashem will speak about that also. Okay. Okay, so that's the way usually a person's pulled out through this type of thing. There's one exception with Moshe Rabbeinu, which the Midrash says. The Midrash brings down in Zota Bracha that says that when Moshe Rabbeinu was niftar, when he was niftar, the neshama did not want to leave. And Hashem said, "Okay, it's time to come back home." Now most neshamas are like, "Great, I'm so happy to be back home. Home is upstairs. I don't want this body. He had to get thrown down here, and it's annoying. And the neshama has to be here. The spirit has to be down. He's frustrated. Why do I have to be here?" Only with Moshe Rabbeinu he said, "No, I'm staying. I ain't going anywhere. I'm home, right?" Because Moshe Rabbeinu was able to be matar himself, tocha kebaro. His body was completely neshama. There was no difference anymore. So we all know he had a keren hod. He had an aura of light that beaconed from his face. Right? You know what I'm talking about? Thought he had to wear a mask. Right? We're familiar. Yeah, he had to wear a mask. Yeah. Right. What that meant is that his neshama, spirit, was so pure, and his body was so pure that the neshama glue through the body. There was no opposites here. Everything was perfect. Everything worked in tandem. So that's why the neshama said, I'm settled. I'm good. No tchiyat metim for me. I'm home. And Hashem had to pull him out. He had to do tricks in order to pull him out. But he wasn't interested in leaving. Okay, Mir Hashem by all of you. Anyways, that's number 3. After that, we get a little bit more detail. This already gets also halachot. Is 3 days, the first 3 days after a person is niftar, the neshama goes back and forth from the body. Okay, it visits, goes back and forth to the body, because it hopes that maybe, it's not over till the fat lady sings, as they say. Who knows, maybe I still have a chance to come back. He comes back, he keeps thinking, maybe I'll find myself back, he'll find himself back. Those first 3 days, he keeps going back to the kever until, as the Zohar writes, he sees his body decomposing. Once he sees his body decomposing, he says, "Oppa, I guess there's nowhere to be here." Okay, and he doesn't come back to the body anymore. That's why in halacha, the first 3 days of avelut, of mourning, is the most serious 3 days. Okay, there's a difference between the first 3 days and 7 days. People don't always know. Well, marshal, if a person has to work, a person's not allowed to work the whole 7 days. But in a case of need, he can't make money in this. So the first 3 days we tell him still no, and then the last 4 days with a het of a rabbi, he's allowed to. Okay, if he asks a rabbi, sometimes he's allowed to work if it's necessary. Absolutely necessary. The first 3 days is very serious, because that's still, the neshama is still there, everything's there. Okay, that's the first 3 days. Then, the 5th stage is during the 7 days, which of course we sit Shiva. Everybody sits Shiva during those 7-day periods, because that is when the neshama is going back and forth from the house. Okay, that's why we sit in the house. And we really, halachically speaking, you're really supposed to sit in the house of where the person lived, okay, of where the niftar lived. The reason is because, guess what? That's where he's hanging out right now. For the first 7 days, a little bit spooky. For the first 7 days, the neshama of this person who's not alive is still in the house, okay, and that's why we try to do it. He goes back and forth, this and that. That's what he does. Till 30 days, there's something that's called chibuta kever. That will have a separate shir on chibuta kever. The first till 30 days, chibuta kever means the body actually goes through a certain pain. It could be with rima v'tona'ah, with worms and this, and it could be other things. You don't want me to get too detailed about these things. But Belina will have a separate share on what chibuta kever is considered a painful thing that a person goes through. But we'll also speak about ways to get out of it. Okay, there are discount ways to get out of chibuta kever. 1 + 1, as they say, right? There's different ways to get out of it. I'll give you one off the bat that protects you from chibuta kever and many of the onashim is the Me'il Tzedakah. Writes that every Erev Rosh Chodesh, people don't know the segula, it's good segula to know, if you could try to do it, it's hard. Every Erev Rosh Chodesh, he says you should give a number of coins. Baruch Hashem, he doesn't say how much the value of the coin has to be. I guess you can get 10 agorot, I don't know. It says the number of coins parallel to your name, which means, if your name is David, let's say coincidentally, okay? So Dalet is 4, Vav is 6, and Dalet is 4. So it's 14. 14, yeah, I got off cheap. Yeah, some people have like tzvi, right? Then you're in trouble. But I don't think. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm wondering if tzadi is 9 or 90. I'm not sure. It could be it's 90. I don't know. You're right. I don't know how you're going to get away with 90. I don't know how you can do it. Huh? Yeah, that's pretty high. You're right. More than him, yeah. No, it could be. I think what I saw is, I'll double check, but I think it's only the first number of that thing. You understand what I'm saying? So I think 9 and 3 would be 9 of 90. That's what it is. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And it's not the value of that thing. You just right? And you just take the number of coins and you give it for tzedakah. But he says you have to separate into seven. Let's say in my case I had 14 coins. Not so bad. 14 coins, you separate into 7 divisions, works out perfectly. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and you give it in 7 different places. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, you separate into 2 things, and it saves you from the 7 madurot of Ganem. That's what he says. Helps to protect you every hour of Rosh Chodesh. That's the way to do it, and that's what it is. I'll double check your tzvi thing. I forgot. You're right. I forgot. Makes it divisible. Anyways, that's the stage of chibuta kever, which happens during the first 30 days of a person after he is niftar, which is obviously painful, and that's why we're very makpid to do shiva and kaddish and everything like that. The Ashkenazim, by the shiva, they say, Hamakom yenachem etchem b'toch Yerushalayim. They say the makom should be menachem all of you b'toch Yerushalayim, together with that. Okay? We see something else. That's not relevant. But that's what the Ashkenazim say. But the halacha is, even if there's only one person sitting, you still say Hamakom yenachem etchem b'toch Yerushalayim. You don't say otcha. You speak plural. Hamakom yenachem all of you b'toch Yerushalayim. So the question is, why would you say Hamakom yenachem etchem b'toch Yerushalayim all of you when there's only one person sitting shiva? It's only one person sitting shiva. Why would you say Hamakom yenachem? The answer is what? What's the answer? Because you bring Menachem, the spirit that's sitting there, also right next to him. Okay, the spirit is there in the house. I don't like the word spirit, but I'm just trying to use an English word. The neshama that's sitting there in that spirit is a lousy word. What? The neshama, everyone knows what the neshama is, right? It's okay? Yeah, you know what the neshama is. Right? The neshama that's sitting there next to them also in the house during those 7 days, you're also being menachem, to a certain extent, the neshama, which is realizing that things are changed. Okay, from 30 until the year, that of course we know is why we say Kaddish for the whole year, is because the person has to go through what we call Mishpatei Gehenim. He has to go through Gehenim. Hopefully, most people get a discount. Bezrat Hashem, people who go to Shiurim on Motzei Shabbos when it's hard to get out from the house, they get a special discount. They don't go. They don't have to do all these things, right? Bezrat Hashem, including the wives, including the wives. After they get But that's why. David, can you just get me more water?
But how many years after can we do Kaddish? You'll say.
Ashkenazim stop after a year. Sfardim, that's so far olam. They don't give up. They never give up. Halachically speaking, it's a little bit weird that we always do it, because after the 12 months, there's no.
The more you're doing it, like, this guy's a big rush, you've got to keep saying Kaddish.
Yeah, no, so that's something else. That we'll speak about. But the idea is, until 12 months, there's Mishpat Gehenim. What you're saying is true, but in a certain context. The 12 months is the amount of time that you have, that a person can go through Gehenim. And Kilu, that's a maximum. Except a person's a real proper Rasha, he can get lasted. But the worst, that's a full 12 months. So that's why we say Kaddish almost until 12 months, because of Kibbut Avim, we only do 11 months. Kohen Ben Ishchai, you skip a week and continue to the end, because the Rizah holds you should do all 12 months. The Rizah holds, you better be careful, and you should do all 12 months in order to do it, and then you can do it. So the problem with doing it sounds like a rush, is to do the whole 12 months, because you make it sound like you got a full sentence. You understand? That's the problem. But after that, you're already, he's in Garedim, the Kaddish that Sfardim do afterwards, just to raise him more levels. Not necessarily because we always.
But what's the point in doing it every year?
You really should take a break. That's true.
What's the point in doing it every year?
No, the yard site is something else. Please, we'll speak about that. Okay. Tell me, the yard site is something very important. On the yard site, on the day that it comes to Yom HaDehiluda, the neshama comes back to the kever. We're going to speak about all these things separate, but the neshama comes back to the kever and Kilu's there, and every time people say Kaddish from on that, it raises him. He goes up higher. He gets a little bit of a higher, and Olam Haba, there are different levels. Not everybody's on the same level.
How do you know the fish has reincarnated so many times?
No.
What's the point?
Okay, believe it. Okay, I understand what you're saying.
You don't have to.
When we speak about reincarnation, there's about 10 or 20 questions on reincarnation. There are hundreds of. The Ben Ishchai is a whole book almost full of questions on what this thing, what happens with it. So believe it, we'll speak about reincarnation. A known Russia? So it depends what kind of Russia is, but it could be, you're saying for sure 12 months. For sure he's 12 months, you're saying? Yeah. If he's a proper Russian, he's a Russia that you know that he had 12 months, and it could be. Sometimes you could do it. Another option is, the problem is mainly for a child to do it for his father for 12 months. Because it's not Kibbut Avim, it's not nice. But if he's a known Russia, first of all, there's no mitzvah Kibbut Avim. And second of all, if he really wants to, he can get someone to do the last month if he wants. He can get someone else to do it. It's such an option. It's not a problem, keep it on that. Okay, Al Kapanim, that's the 30 days of that. And then, finally, after all these steps and this, from 12 months and hala, is tachat kisei kavod. Depending on who you are, Kamaran, depends on who you are and how great you are. But then he goes up to Olam Haba, which Bezrat Hashem will have a few shurim about Olam Haba, what it looks like, what cloud, which puffy cloud it's up over there in cloud 9. And the status of it, like Tosfot says, and Tosfot actually brings down, sometimes he even could come down to the world. We'll speak about that also. He could have some connection to the world to a certain extent. But B'ikaron, the person is in Olam Haba, Baruch Hashem, enjoying himself and waiting for the Techiyat HaMeitim.
There's no such thing as beyond 12 months, man.
Like you said, for certain Rishaim, proper Rishaim, there is. Now this Nakud is a little bit of machloket. There are some people which we say officially don't get a chelik in Olam Haba. Kofrim apikoris, someone who's mamish and apikoris, neged Hashem, someone who's lahachis, or things like that. Officially, according to the halachic pshat world, that's it. They're finished. They're not going to get a chelik in Olam Haba. They lost it. But you should know, surprisingly enough, al pida mekubalim, like the Sefer Leshem, he writes about this by Arichut, they hold that everyone's going to get there, one way or the other. One way or the other, everyone gets the ticket inside of there somehow. Unless, I don't know. There must be some exceptions, but B'ikaron, he says almost everybody makes it. Even, I think he even says, even the worst. Even really bad people. Chutz. No one knows the chutz. Yeah. The Mishnah says, "Kol Yisrael Yeshem Chelek Chutz," from Apikoros and Koifrim and all these things. Nobody quotes that part. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Al Pi Pshat, it's not so simple. But Al Pi Kabbalah, that everyone gets it. Okay, that's the things. In a nutshell, also, I'll just quickly tell you, if we're already speaking about the dinim that a person passes, during that time is at the time that he passes away. That's one. They're machrizim in front of. They announce everything that this person did. This we'll see in action. We'll see how that happens. Also, what people don't know is when he goes into the kever, when a person is lowered into the kever, into the grave, over there that's where he's getting transformed into the other world, and over there is all the kitrugim, the things that can go keneged him. That's why, Mashal, in Yerushalayim, there's a minhag that the children don't follow after the met, right? After the deceased. And nobody knows why. I want to follow after the met. The reason why is because when a person goes down into the kever, so then all the bad stuff comes out. And number one on the thing is if he spilled any seed. Okay? If he spilled any seed improperly. Now, again, I don't want to get too in detail because it can get quite scary, this stuff. But they say any improper seed that was spilled or something like that is another neshama, another person that kilu is hitting the person over the head. Is another mashchit, like an angel of I don't know what the words are. You know what I'm talking about? A destroying angel. You said destroying, right? It's like a destructive angel that goes against a person. So because of that, it's a very dangerous thing, and we say that we don't want the other kids there that are there kilu with all his brothers who are causing problems. So it could be a very makom for hezek. So the meaning of Yerushalayim is that children don't follow after the met because it's at the time of lowering the grave, people don't realize it's a very big time. That's when he's already going to the Shama, and that's when the kitrugim start. That's when the dangers start. That's why you'll notice also in the near-death experiences, a lot of times, like I said, we'll quote a number of them. No one ever. They start. Some we'll see speak about a beit din, or they speak. They're speaking. Did you do this? Did you do that? There is such a thing, but most of them feel, as they say, gishmak. Most of them are feeling okay. They seem margua. There's nothing, because these guys never got in the grave. They made it back. You understand? So there's only so much information you can get from these people because they ended up coming back. The people who die, that would be the great information. But bas kem and ton, as they say, we can't do anything. You can't get those people. What? They keep still, right. That's it. They're quiet. They're not telling us what would happen. But that's where you get the real information. I'm saying the real details of din we can only read in the Zohar and the Arizal because we're not going to get it from the people that came back.
Why is there such a rush to Torah? You say the body is suffering.
No, the body suffers because it's in a limbo until it gets down to the Gvur. It wants it. It's like it needs it to be able to purify itself. It needs to get there. So the longer you take, the more it's in limbo. Where am I? What am I doing? The neshama stays with the goof, and it's very frustrating. It's very annoying. There's no closure, right? No satisfaction. It's look. Nobody wants the punishment, but you want the punishment when you know it's a means to hopefully getting to where you're supposed to go. You know what I mean? Say again.
Why would that only be Minhag Yerushalayim?
It's Minhag Yerushalayim. Yeah.
Why?
Also, Beit Shammai do it actually. What I just said about not following the kever. Yeah.
It's about learning to very quickly.
No. I'm talking about the kids don't follow the body.
Why is that not universal?
You're saying it should be a reason. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I was in Kabbalah, I think, based from the Goyen. The Vilna Gaon said to do it, and these minhagim came to Yerushalayim based on the Vilna Gaon. So that's where it happened. Why don't we take it on? I don't know why not. Chutzars don't do it. I hear. And in Chutzars they wouldn't accept it anyways. They get very frustrated. People get very annoyed about it. In Yerushalayim they say, okay, over here we're all Haredi, so what can we do? Have to stick with the Joan. Have to do like the Joan. When in Rome, do like the Romans is right? What? That's so simple. Well, look, if he wants to, he can break a minhag, but it's a pretty strong minhag.
I don't even want to if I was 18.
I'm talking about only during the Levaya. I'm not talking about in general.
What?
I'm only talking about during the Levaya.
Yeah,
okay.
That's right. No, so I was with Dr. Sus, and the son wanted to go, and the Rabbi Genish was saying no.
Oh.
I said, no, we don't hold with that. And the son came
Okay.
to the Kavod.
Okay. I hear. Okay.
The one experience I had.
Yeah, no, it could be. There's 1, 2 options. Okay, I'll double check that. I'm wondering if he holds his minig in England, where they do it. That's my suffix. Because I think Sfardim are pretty much better at this also, I'm pretty sure, but I'll double check. Maybe he went to Sfardim. Okay, anyway, so let's just finish up. That's when a person goes in the kever. Then there's chibut kever, which we spoke about before. There's the rima v'tola'ah. Okay, hopefully one doesn't experience that. There's gehenim. Rima v'tola'ah is the worms in the kever. There's gehenim, which I'm sure everybody knows what that word means. And then, if a person doesn't make it properly, he doesn't get a pure purification. So then, this is also a subject we'll speak about a couple shirim. He is a ruach in the world. He floats around in the world. If a person, that's one of the most painful experiences for a person to have, is not to make it upstairs, at least to Gehenim. Let him go to Gehenim at least, so he can go to Gehenim, so eventually get to Gan Eden. If he doesn't even get zochet to that, because there's certain things that he has to do, sometimes he'll have to come back as a neshama that's floating around in this world. Okay? Mm-hmm. And that there are many stories of what we call in Hebrew Ruach Raphaim. We call Ruach Raphaim. In English, what we call ghosts. Okay? But or poltergeists, right? Poltergeists, which are truth stories. There's no question. And it's very hard to deny them also. Again, we'll bring some stories about that also in order to show the point. Dibuk is, it's the same idea, but it's different. Right? It's what happened over there is a little bit different, but it's the same idea of a spirit who's floating around here, but he's trying to take advantage of someone to finish the job already. You got to get out of here, right? He's sick of being in the house, so he clings in someone's body and he's trying to use him as his apparatus to try to get himself upstairs. Okay, so that's that. Dibuk can kill someone. If he goes inside a bird, he can really kill someone. Believe it or not, we'll speak about Dibukim also. Why not? We're having fun anyway, so you might as well speak about it. We'll try to get to all of them. Okay, these are the different dinim and the different steps of what happens. I told you. 9 o'clock. I didn't realize. Give me till 9:05. I'll stop at 9:05. Okay. I basically told you I'm going to speak about 30 days before death, which the Zohar brings in Parshat Vayechi. Basically, more or less, he says that 30 days before someone dies, machrizim olav ba'olam ki ba'od lamed yom ta'ale nishmato shel ploni ben ploni beginzei maromim. Okay, ve'afilu of hashamayim machriz olav. It says that 30 days before there's a achraz and shamayim. They say so and so is going to die in 30 days. Finished. We've got him. Okay, we got the cat in the bag, as they say. Okay, we have him. And what's interesting, he brings in even the Ofa Shamayim, even the birds will speak about it. That say what it is. Now, that sounds weird. How do the birds know? But there's a real story. It's a Gemara. That's interesting to know. It's so funny. I finished writing this. I remember the Gemara just from something. And then one time I was listening to a radio station about certain Divrei Torah. And Mamish brought the same story. Mamish word for it. It's probably a different context. It was on the Parsha Noach. He brought the same Gemara. Gemara basically says when Shlomo Melech got his chokhmah, he got his intelligence, he knew everything, and he knew the chokhmah of the birds also, what they speak and what they talk. We all hear them talking. They definitely have some conversations over there. And he knew that also. So there was a guy who told Shlomo Melech, listen man, I got to know what they're saying. It sounds so good, so interesting. Teach me the language. Just teach me the language. I'm very good at languages. I've gone to, I know 6 languages. So teach me the 7th, I'll learn the bird language. It's a big deal. Shlomo Melech said, no way, Jose. I'm not teaching you this thing. He knew all the language. I said Jose because he knew Mexican also. Anyways, the guy said, I gotta know. I really pushed back. The Gemara goes back and forth about the machloket. He said it's dangerous for you. You should know it. He said please. The kids Shlomo Melech taught him the language of the birds. So he learned the language of the birds, and you know what? One time the guy gets up in the morning. He's got this new fancy trick up his sleeve. He goes and he listens to the birds. They say that the crops are all going to go bad this year. It's very bad. The birds are telling each other how bad the crops. It's going to be a very bad season for crops. The guy doesn't plant any crops. He goes somewhere else. He plants somewhere else. And this makes a bundle. Everybody else losing money. He's making a ton of money. This guy's doing fantastic. Another time it says that there's going to be a fire in a certain place, and then fire, blah, 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 blah. There's that. So he invested dafka in a different place. And that. These guys know the stock market, Bekitzer, right? Wall Street. They know exactly where they're all telling each other where to go, right? Yeah, that's why everybody in the Wall Street are a bunch of bird brains, right? Makes sense, right? That's how it makes especially the ones that are making all the money, right? This is the Makor, I'm saying, right? Anyway, so he was doing well. 3-4 years, the guy was a multimillionaire. Fantastic. He was doing great and stuff like that. Okay, and that starts the 5th year. He wants to hear what they say. So here's the bird saying, they say, Ploni ben Ploni, the name of this guy, is going to die this year. 30 days, he's dead. He's finished. He's all washed up. He's like, 1 second. Well, what do I do now? He goes back to Shlomo Melech. He goes, what's going on? He told him, I told you. I warned you. It's your fault. You used up all your schuyot. You listened to them, and you use up. You were supposed to lose here. You're supposed to get certain yisurim over here, and you would add a nice long life. Here you are. You used up. This is the makor for this idea of selling 7 years to the devil, and then eventually you get that's the same idea. Same idea. You decided to sell yourself in, and that's it. And now that's it. You can't. But how do I change this? You can't. You heard them say that there's nothing to change. So I'm just saying that Gemara is mefurish, like this Zohar that we're bringing out here, that even the birds. That's a lot of things. Afilu of hashamayim achrizulav. The afot. The birds themselves start telling the person that it's going to happen. For those full 30 days, that's what happens. And that's what it is. He just feels that what they say, what's brought down there, he feels a certain lack of shlita, of command of his body. The neshama is slowly dissipating from his body. Ein adam shalit beruach lichlo et haruach. He can't control his ruach. So sometimes, like you said, 30 days before, a person can go, I don't say bananas, but a person can lose his kelim or can do things that are weird or unusual because a person's not in control of himself. I've heard of ma'asim that I heard from someone else that said that there are many dayanim that can tell you that there are people that come and they decide to write a will. Why? Because, I don't know, I just have this feeling or whatever, that certain hargasha that something's going on. Or they had a dream that was showing that or something like that. It's sometimes accurate, sometimes not, but a lot of times they had a certain accuracy to it. And not soon after writing that will, they found themselves not alive anymore. But sometimes a person gets certain feelings, and that's where it's come to. Why is that enough? Why is that relevant for us? Because the Khatam Sofer writes in his drashot that because of this reason, during those 30 days, which we can't all know, I guess I got scared. They can't know what the 30 days are. He says that's a time to improve in yourself. Okay, that's a time. He says during those 30 days, a person can correct his whole life. If a person, you have to know those 30 days, but if it would be, he can correct his whole life because those 30 days are parallel to every day in his life. If he's able to be chozer b'tshuva and do what's right, things like that, then it would be okay. Lamaisa, we obviously none of us usually know when that is. Some of us simple people don't know these things, but all the tzaddikim always knew Yom Mitatan, like it was brought in the Midrash Rabbah. I'm almost finished. Okay, almost 2 more minutes. We'll be finished. When Aaron was nifter, we all know Elazar sat there and he told him, okay, now it's time to go. He had to lie down and he told him, close your eyes, take it up. He did everything appropriately because Aaron knew exactly when he would die. The Or Chaim HaKadosh, which we'll be quoting a lot, the Or Chaim HaKadosh also throws in a lot of Kabbalah things in Parshat Vayelech. On the pasuk of Vayelech Moshe, when Vayelech Moshe, he says, the Ramban says, what does it mean that Yaakov Avinu asaf et reglav and he went to bed? Okay, or he felt this, or Vayelech Moshe was on his way out. So Ramban says, Al Pi Pshat. He says, Al Pi Pshat. They felt sick. They felt, this is it. I know I'm not going to last anymore. Al Pi Pshat. That's what he says. The Or Chaim says, Al Pi, what we're saying now. He says, no, during the time before the p'tira of a person, he knows that he's going. Of tzaddikim. Tzaddikim know exactly what's going on. They are in touch with their body. So 100%. So Mamela, they don't be'erech. They know exactly. I know the day and this. HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells them. And they know it's exactly the time of the 7 days. And that's what it means. That's what it says. He says 40 days, 30 days, whatever it is. But they all tell you what it is. I saw a nice mashal to this. Why is this so? First of all, because since they did everything al pi ratzon Hashem, they never did anything without ki'ilu consulting Hashem. So Hashem consults with them. Hashem tells them, you should know, guess what? It's time to go. Okay? I don't know if he asks them permission, but he tells them, and he consults with them. That's first of all. But he says also similar, because we know in Choshen Mishpat, the halacha is that if you don't have a contract, if you're a renter and you don't have a contract, then a Baal Bayit can throw you out, but he has to give you 30 days notice. Al pi halacha in Choshen Mishpat, you have to give 30 days notice. So Kadosh Baruch Hu is giving you 30-day notice. Guess what, buddy? I rented your body for you for 70, 80, 90 years. And here's your 30-day notice. Enjoy yourself. Take advantage of your last 30 days in the house. You can start looking for a new renter. Okay? But Al Kopanim, that's what they use in reference to Yaakov, in reference to Moshe. So that's how these people do it and able to know what it is. Okay? That's where it comes from. There's one other nukuda, but I'll save it for next time, which refers to the tzelem. Over here, we have an idea called the tzelem, which is the image of a person. A person has a certain image. that image is an imitation of who you are up in Shamayim. Everybody has a parallel you up in Shamayim. You all have a twin brother. Some of us really have a twin brother. But right, some people, we have a twin upstairs that is an image of you, that is a spiritual image, that is up in Shamayim, and that is a lot of things in halacha. The only thing the best mashal to make you understand that is when you look in the mirror. When you look in the mirror and go, hey, that's me, right? Well, that's not you. Come on, break the mirror. It doesn't, but it looks like you, and it walks like you, it moves like you, has image, but we all know it's a spiritual. It's not a real you. It's a facade. It's a fake. It's a dimyon. This image, it's called a tselem. It's called a tselem in Kabbalah. The idea of tzaddik lamed mem is very high levels, and there's a lot of ideas behind it. But this tselem is something that's real. It's existent. Okay, which I'll speak about next time, Bli Neder. But it's something that's up in Shamayim, and that tselem is what keeps you parallel in this body. Okay, when a person leaves, the tselem is removed from him, that parallel tselem, and it goes up. That's what happens. So the mashal, they say, just for one mashal, they say, and we all know we were all at Har Sinai. We all of it. All of us were on it. All our neshama were there. But the real specific thing means our tselem was there. The tselem of each and every one was at Har Sinai. Everybody was really there as our tselem, that image that we have that imitates us. That's what's going to come back into Chiyat Meitim. That tselem was what Har Sinai. There's a lot more examples, and I didn't finish explaining what the tselem is. I just gave you a little bit hagdama for next week. Okay, so Hashem will continue next week at the normal